So thank you all for attending this week's Sunday program, which is also a celebration of the Panihati Chedadai festival. If you could all please be seated and come as far forward as possible, avoiding the space in between these two red stanchions or poles. That space will need to be left clear for those devotees receiving initiation this evening. So please take a seat and come forward. We are very fortunate that His Holiness Romapad Swami will be giving class this evening. Maharaj is a distinguished scholar and devout follower of the Vedic system of life in theology, science, ethics, and culture. His professional responsibilities include facilitating systematic education and training in these techniques for people in North America and Asia. Maharaj's singular attention to developing good qualities and then sacrificing all his time and efforts for people have made him a revered teacher in university campuses and metropolitan communities. As part of his vocation, he has been regularly invited to give seminars and short courses by prestigious universities in the US and corporate giants such as Microsoft and Lucent. Twice a year, he finds time to give extended courses at universities in Asia. Despite a demanding travel schedule, His Holiness cares for each individual that crosses his path, even by visiting people in their homes simply for their benefit. That was loud.
That was loud.
Maharaj's life is a living testimony to the desire of his teacher, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, to have exemplary people guiding the society. People especially note his consistent patience in answering questions and his peacefulness, humility, and tolerance. He serves as a senior teacher and administrator with the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So please join me in welcoming His Holiness Romapad Swami.
Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunnavadi Paschatya Desatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. My experience here in the Houston Temple is the schedule is very strict, which is nice because sometimes it's not. So I'm going to keep the schedule. We're already 5 minutes behind schedule. Some of you are newer, and some of you you've been around many, many years, and some are somewhere in between. So I'm going to speak something about the festival that's being honored today. It's on the screen here, and over there, and over there. There's 3 screens. Take your pick. Panihati is a place in West Bengal where wonderful pastime occurred to give association to a very deserving person named Raghunath Das Goswami. We'll give a little background on who he was. And by this service that he performed to serve Chidha Dahi. Different parts of India spelled Dahi differently. This is how it's spelled in Bengali. So we did it. It's in Bengali. It's Chaitanya Charitamrita. Chipped rice and yogurt festival. Here's a nice illustration of the 6 Goswamis. Many of you know. Some of you may not know. Over on our altar on the left, that's Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. And Lord Chaitanya, Krishna himself in the mood, and the role of a devotee of Krishna, to teach about devotion to Krishna. He had principal associates, and they're pictured on the screen here, 6 in number, Shad Goswamis. They're from different backgrounds, mostly from very elevated backgrounds, exalted backgrounds, but they became very humble, lived a life of mendicants, and lived in Vrindavan and carried out the instructions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from Vrindavan. And you'll see shortly a little bit of that. This is a painting of one of the 6. His name is Raghunath Das Goswami. You give the years of his life, give you some idea. He was amongst the 6 Goswamis, he was one of the youngest. And he lived for a total of 92 years. The first 31 years of his life was student life, and he was married. The next 16 years of his life was in renunciation, living in Puri with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu until the very end of Mahaprabhu's pastimes. And then the final 45 is time that he spent in Vrindavan. So we're going to be discussing the junction of those 31 years with the next 16. And on the right side of the screen, this is drawn from a book. The title, Gaura Gonadesh Dipika, is a book that describes, just as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, Nityananda Prabhu is Balaram himself, everyone in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela has their counterpart in Krishna Leela. And it's a book, it's a who's who. And in the spiritual realm of Goloka Vrindavan, 3 different moods or personalities are manifest in the body of Raghunath Das. 2 of them are Manjaris. Manjaris means they're young assistants of the gopis in the spiritual world. That's the function of the Manjaris. And Bhanumati is another personality who Raghunath Das Goswami, in Lord Chaitanya's Leela, he manifested that mood. So he was born in a Vaishnava family, and that Vaishnava family last name was Majumdar, and the Majumdars, during that particular era of time, there was a Muslim ruler. The title of that Muslim ruler or king was Shah. So the family were landholders under the king, and they had responsibility. And the king had his function, and the landholders had their function, and then people received land from the landholder and so forth. So they were from a Kayasta family, and what that means is they were not of a higher caste by birth. They're a lower caste by birth, but they were given this responsibility because they're very trusted and trustworthy persons. And so they were wealthy and aristocratic. And there were 2 brothers in these Majumdar family. His is taken from Chaitanya Charitamrita. 2 brothers, elder and younger brother. Hiranya and Govardhan were their names. Raghunath Das was the son of the younger of the 2, and between the 2 brothers that were super wealthy, I mean, Prabhupada speaks about the amount of wealth and would compare them with the Birla family or this family, that super wealthy family. and he was the only son. In Vedic culture, and it was a system at that time, he, the son, there was only one, but the elder son was only one son, he was due to inherit everything. Super wealthy, to inherit all the wealth of his super wealthy parents. However, he had no interest, like none at all. Their family had a family priest. The family priest was Balaramacharya. You'll hear his name a few times as we go along. Balaramacharya was their family priest, and he was particularly favored by Haridas Thakur. Now, those of you that have been around for a while, you know who is Haridas Thakur. For those of you that are little newer, very unique person. He was born in a Muslim family, but he had a total fascination in the chanting of the holy name. So he became known in Lord Chaitanya's Leela as the Acharya of the chanting of the holy name, or Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur. So Balaramacharya was particularly favored by Haridas Thakur. In fact, Haridas Thakur spent some time with Majumdars, particularly because of his close relationship with Balaram Acharya. Balaram Acharya had a spiritual master. His name was Yadunandana Acharya. He was the spiritual master of the family. So there's a priest that did priestly functions, and there's a guru that did guru functions. And Yadunandana Acharya, this is just quoting from Chaitanya Charitamrita to introduce who these personalities are, because we're going to hear some more about them. He was particularly a favorite of Vasudeva Datta. Those of you that may not know who is Vasudeva Datta, he was a disciple and follower of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Vasudeva Datta was particularly compassionate. So compassionate that he made an appeal to Lord Chaitanya. Please, you have the power. Please deliver all the sinful souls in the universe. Please deliver them all to the spiritual world. Release them for their sinful reactions and deliver them to the spiritual world. And if you think they're too sinful, then I volunteer. Transfer all the sinful reactions of all the living entities in this universe to me. I'll take responsibility, but deliver them, please. That's Vasudeva Datta. Lord Chaitanya embraced him and said, I am Vasudeva Datta's man. Like, I'm his servant. The servant of such a compassionate soul. And Yadunandana Acharya was particularly favored by Vasudeva Datta. So you get the picture. There's these very elevated persons, very wealthy family. Raghunath Das is born into that very wealthy family with zero interest in the wealth of the family. Zero or minus. And a strong connection with Lord Chaitanya's associates through the personalities who are guiding them. So here's a very nice drawing. This is meant to be a drawing of Yadunandana Acharya. He was the Diksha Guru, he gave initiation to Raghunath Das when he was a young boy. Because young boys, when they're eligible and qualified, they receive Gayatri Mantra when their Upanayana procedure takes place. he, Yadunanda Acharya, was a disciple of Advaita Acharya, a Diksha disciple of Advaita Acharya. Now for you newer persons, you may not know who is Advaita Acharya. I'm assuming there's some. So you have heard us this evening already. There's this Pancha Tattva mantra. Pancha means 5. So it goes in sequence. Their image is on the left side. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, he's in the center. Going to his right or to our left, Prabhu Nityananda. And then to his right or to our left, Sri Advaita. So these are essential personalities in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes. Nityananda and Advaita Acharya. And then going in the other direction, Gadadhar and Srivas. That makes 5. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita, Gadadhar, Srivasadi. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So Advaita Acharya was the Diksha Guru of Yadunandana Acharya. And Yadunandana Acharya became the Diksha Guru of Raghunath Das Goswami. At that time he was Raghunath Das. So he's the grand disciple of Advaita Acharya, Raghunath Das. So exalted. By birth very wealthy, by spiritual association most wealthy. And here's a nice little image of Haridas Thakur. We mentioned already Haridas Thakur held very dear Balaramacharya. So one time Haridas Thakur was paying a visit to Balaramacharya, and while he was there he stayed at the home of the Majumdars. And when he was staying at the home of the Majumdars, he met their son, Raghunath Das. And Haridas really liked this young boy because he was so devoted, and he gave his blessings. Didn't say specifically in this pastime, but he felt very fond of him, and he gave his blessings to mature spiritually. And this is a key note, the key. Association with elevated persons and receiving the blessings of those elevated persons gives good fortune, spiritual fortune. And that's what happened. Starting point, the mercy of Haridas Thakur. And then, after some time, Raghunath Das, the son of the Majumdars, who had no attraction to their wealth, he met Lord Chaitanya for the first time. The circumstance of his meeting Lord Chaitanya for the first time, because he met him 3 times, but the first time was just after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had taken sannyas, and the circumstance was he wanted to go to Vrindavan, but Nityananda tricked him and they went to Shantipur instead. Shantipur is not far from his home, and in Shantipur is a place where Advaita Acharya lived, in Shantipur. Those of you who have been around for a while, you know that. But geographically, it's not far from Lord Chaitanya's birthplace. And the reason for sending him to Lord Chaitanya, to Shantipur, was so that Mother Sachi could see him. After his mother could see him after he had taken sannyas, because otherwise she may never see him again. So that was the purpose. Go to Shantipur. And when he was in Shantipur, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in Shantipur, this host, Advaita Acharya, invited the Majumdar family, because the spiritual master of the Majumdar family was his disciple. So he brought the whole family, and that means Raghunath Das came, and Raghunath Das got Lord Chaitanya's association. And while he was there, mercy number 2, along with getting his association, Advaita Acharya made sure that Lord Chaitanya had some remnants of his prasad each day, and Raghunath Das would get some of his prasad, remnants. Special, special mercy. So that's special mercy number 2. And then, when he was 19, remember he stayed at home. He stayed at home until he was 31. So now he's 19. And he met Lord Chaitanya for the second time. The second time he met Lord Chaitanya again was at Shantipur. And this was after Lord Chaitanya was returning to Puri. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had taken sannyas. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to go to Vrindavan, so he went to Vrindavan. Many things happened, but he went to Vrindavan. On his way back to Puri, he stopped in Shantipur. Second time they met. And this was after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met, it wasn't after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Vrindavan. He had gone in a northerly direction. Anyway, he went in a northerly direction to meet Rupa and Sanatan Goswami. So it was shortly after his meeting with Rupa and Sanatan Goswami. He went to Shantipur. And by this time, this is their second meeting. And at their second meeting, Raghunath Das had the opportunity to have a short conversation with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and pleaded, "Take me with you, take me with you. I want your association, but my father won't let me get your association. He has soldiers, and when I try to sneak away, he sends the soldiers to find me and brings me back forcibly. I want to be with you. Please take me with you. Please permit me to be with you." There's a very nice passage that's important to understand how Lord Chaitanya advised him. This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Calm yourself and return home. Don't be foolish. It takes time to cross the ocean of material suffering. Don't make a show of monkey renunciation, markata vairagya, simply for other people's benefit. Enjoy the worldly life in a moderate way without attachment. Be fixed on Krishna internally while externally dealing with the world in the appropriate fashion. It will not be long before Krishna delivers you. He didn't say no and he didn't say yes. He said, become purified and become qualified. And that time will come. And how is that becoming qualified? Live in the world moderately, without attachment to worldly life. Live in the world without attachment, moderately, and internally cultivate your attachment for Krishna. Good advice. I want to tell a story, but I have to keep going because this is the Houston Temple and we have to keep our schedule. I'm going to tell the story anyway. There was a period of ISKCON's explosion, the Hare Krishna explosion, when one of the most influential musical stars in the world, the Beatles, the four Beatles, one of them was Krishna conscious. And he was George Harrison. So there were several exchanges. One of those exchanges went like this. George confided in Prabhupada, I don't like it in this material world. But my music requires me to mix with people that are very unpleasant. He was being harassed by circumstances without the details. And I don't know what to do. And Prabhupada referred to this passage. He said, Lord Chaitanya, the same, very similar situation happened between Lord Chaitanya and Raghunath Das, and this is my advice to you. You're with your music, you're able to spread the message of the chanting of the holy name in a way that no one else in the world can do. So do that for Krishna. And so live in the world with your friends who are worldly. You don't have to indulge in their worldliness. You, in a modern way, you continue your activities without same message. Same message. Just following in Lord Chaitanya's method. But internally, cultivate your love for Krishna. And with your music and your ability to record best-selling musical recordings, encourage people to take shelter of Krishna. So that's what he did. Very effectively. So now we're back to Raghunath Das Goswami. So what did he do? Yes, sir, because that's what a disciple does. He went back home, and mom and dad, the Majumdar family, his father and his mother and his uncle, they thought, wow, he's normal again. And on one occasion, his father had to go out of town, and there was a conflict between his father and the Chaduri. The Chaduri is a tax collector, so the king was to collect taxes from landholders, and the agent of the king was this Chaduri. Doesn't give his name, but the Turkish Muslim Chaduri. And he had an issue with the Majumdar family. Why? Because the Majumdar family bypassed him. They just paid their taxes directly to the king, or to the Shah, or to the Muslim king. And they cut him out. He wanted his cut. So he came to gather his taxes from the Majumdar family directly when the father was gone. So it's just his son, Raghunath Das, who has no attachment at all for worldly stuff, showed that he had complete capacity to deal with worldly stuff. He dealt with the Chaduri in such a way. There's the words that he spoke are in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, but he said, in our family relation, you're like my uncle, and I respect you so much, and don't worry, I'll see that you get the taxes. And he spoke so sweetly and so nicely in such a cultured manner that the Chaduri started to cry. He melted his heart. Said, it's okay, I'll forego the taxes, it's okay. And he said, no, it's okay, we'll make sure they get the taxes. So in other words, he showed he had the capacity to do worldly things, but he had no interest in it. It wasn't like he was a failure and so he was running the other direction. He just had no taste for it. And when his father came back and heard what his son had done, wow, he's going to be a good successor to all of our wealth. Yay! But that's not what happened, because still, again and again and again, Raghunath Das, he was married, as happens sometimes, or most of the time, in cultured families. They have a nice son, they have their nice son married. So to act in a worldly way, he's 19 years old, he got married to a very beautiful girl. So he's got money, he's got a beautiful wife, he's got everything a materialist could want, and he doesn't want it. He kept trying to run away. And the soldiers would find him and capture him. And finally, the mother said to her husband, to Govardhan Majumdar, tie him up. And here's what his father said. He has as much wealth as Indra, king of the gods, and his wife is as beautiful as the heavenly courtesans. If these things, money and beautiful wife, have not been able to capture his spirit, then how will mere ropes be able to do so? The father who gives life to a child cannot interfere with the effects of previous lives' actions. Sri Chaitanya Chandra, one of the names of the deities on the altar, Chaitanya Chandra, has given his blessings to this boy. Who can keep prisoner one who has been made mad by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? So now he's in his late 20s. And sure enough, just after this incident took place between the husband and wife, there was news that came to the ear of Raghunath Das that Lord Nityananda was visiting in Panihati. Remember, that's our festival today, the Panihati festival. So Lord Nityananda was visiting in Panihati. So he's tried and tried and tried, and it was a failure. So he went to Lord Nityananda asking Lord Nityananda for the attention of asking Lord Nityananda to help. With your blessing, surely I can get Lord Chaitanya's association. It's key. Because Lord Nityananda is the representative of Guru Tattva. Just like in those of you that are familiar with Ramayana, Lakshmana is representative of Guru Tattva, or Balaram is representative of Guru Tattva. So similarly, Lord Nityananda is representative of Guru Tattva. By the mercy of Guru, one can get the mercy of Krishna, right? We're going to be having initiation today. That's the connection, along with the Panihati festival. So when Raghunath Das came to the Panihati place where Lord Nityananda was sitting in an assembly of hundreds of people, he was shy. From a distance, he was paying his obeisances. And Nityananda is known to be funny. Like, he says one thing and he means another thing. Like a thief, you don't come near me, but simply you try to run away. Now that I've caught you, I shall punish you. I want you to feed all my followers. Like sponsor the Sunday feast or something like that. Feed all my followers chipped rice and yogurt. So here's a little photograph of chipped rice. There's two kinds of chipped rice. And one of is you soak it in condensed milk. Another is you mix it with yogurt. So they get pots and pots and pots. So he had money. So he used his money to get all these ingredients, and they had a big, big festival. And when they had their big, big festival, it's a lengthy description in Chaitanya Charitamrita, and there were hundreds and hundreds and thousands of people, so many people there wasn't room. They were half immersed in the Ganges, because it was by the bank of the Ganges, and having prasadam under the order of Nityananda ordering Raghunath Das as a punishment to feed the Vaishnavas. That's an honor. But he was speaking like that. In the midst of that assembly, everyone could see, including Raghunath Das, there was Lord Chaitanya, who came to take some chipped rice and yogurt and chipped rice and condensed milk. And there was Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya feeding each other in plain sight of everybody. It was an ecstatic manifestation. And then they had kirtan. And when they had kirtan, Lord Chaitanya started dancing and dancing. And everyone was dancing and dancing. This painting shows so many Vaishnavas, and there they are half immersed in the Ganges. And you see in the lower right, there's the pots that have these two types of chipped rice. Now here's Raghunath Das coming before Lord Nityananda with many, many, many people in the background and many boats because they're by the Ganges, making this appeal. I am the lowest of men, the most sinful, fallen, and condemned. Nevertheless, I desire to attain the shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Like a dwarf who wants to catch the moon, I have tried my best many times, but I have never been successful. No one can attain the shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu without your mercy, although I'm unfit and greatly afraid to submit this plea. Please be especially merciful toward me by granting me shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So what did Lord Nityananda do? He put his foot on his head, which means mercy. Raghunath Das then turned to the place where all this festival is going on, the home of Raghava Pandit, how to get free from his material entanglements to attain the association of Mahaprabhu. This is the painting showing his place his foot on his head. And then here's what Lord Nityananda said. This is the conclusion. You arranged this feast on the banks of the river, and Mahaprabhu was merciful to you and came here himself to enjoy it. He blessed you by accepting the offerings of chipped rice and yogurt. Then, after watching the devotees dancing, he took prasad in the evening. Lord Gauranga came here just to deliver you. And now he has removed any impediments which remained. He's giving a forecast of the future. He's a good astrologer. He's an omniscient astrologer. He doesn't even need to read the chart. He knows what's going to happen before it happens. He will turn you over to Sarup Damodar, which is what happened in Puri. And making you his confidential servant, he will keep you by his side for 16 years. That's what happened. Go home now and forget your worries. You will soon be able to go to the Lord without any difficulties. And guess what? That's what happened. And I think I'm within my time constraints. So this is, you recognize this drawing. This is a drawing of Yadunandana Acharya. So some days passed. Raghunath Das is back in his family's residence with his wife and the whole thing. And late in the evening, Yadunandana Acharya has received word that the pujaris who are supposed to worship the deity the next morning are not going to be available. So he's going here and going there, searching for someone who can be the acharya, the priest for the deities the next morning. Raghunath saw a chance, so he said, don't worry, I'll look after it. You can go take rest, it's late at night. I'll find some pujaris to take care of the deities in the morning. So he had already shown his competence, so Yadunandana Acharya agreed, and he went to take rest. Immediately, Raghunath Das, in the late hours of the night, departed, and for 12 days he fasted on his way to Jagannath Puri. And he made it to Jagannath Puri, famished and very happy. And that's the conclusion. So the conclusion of the Panihati festival is that to get the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we need the mercy of Lord Nityananda, the representative of Guru Tattva. And to get that good fortune of meeting Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we had the mercy of Haridas Thakur. So mercy of devotees makes for good fortune, spiritual good fortune. And without it, not possible. So all of us have the opportunity in the association of devotees to get the merciful association of devotees. It's just our eagerness, and it's available, and render some service and get the mercy of those merciful Vaishnavas. And then spiritual progress can take place. So I was asked, because it's the Panihati festival time, to speak something about the Panihati festival. And also because this evening there's an initiation ceremony. We're going to switch gears right now. The mercy that Raghunath Das received from these personalities just mentioned, similarly has happened in the lives of these devotees. So the process of Diksha means two things: submission unto Krishna through the spiritual master, the representative of Krishna, and acceptance by Krishna of that submission, because the deliverance comes from the mercy of Krishna, delivered through the representative, but it's the mercy of Krishna only. And that opportunity is there for those who are very serious. There's some nice verses, which I'm not going to go into because of time, but Jigyasu Shreya Uttama. Jigyasu, you all know the meaning, it means inquisitive. The Vedanta Sutra uses this very same word. When Atato Brahma Jigyasa, yes? First aphorism in Vedanta Sutra. Upon achieving the human form of life, one should be inquisitive into Brahman, the absolute truth. So initiation is meant for those who are inquisitive, and they've demonstrated inquisitiveness in the direction of the absolute truth, which means, slowly at least, diminishing the affinity for the temporary. And as the affinity for temporary diminishes and the spiritual affinity increases, then there's recognition of yet another stage that's very important in spiritual life, and that's this diksha, that's submission unto Krishna, acceptance by Krishna through the representative of Krishna. So that's what we're doing. There's one devotee seated right over here. She's been practicing Krishna consciousness for how many years? Too many to count. Many years. And she's here to receive her second initiation. So in ISKCON we have this first and second. Second initiation means receiving Gayatri mantras. And we'll do that later, but Gayatri mantras are given. And after all these festivities here in the temple room, we're going to go over there and have a yajna and grains with mantras, and all of that procedure is not going to be here in this temple room, but over there in the Guranga Hall. But so the formal connection will be formalized and formally established. But here in front of the deities, we're going to be giving names for the first initiates and vows before the deity, of vows that are going to be upheld through the rest of one's life. Just like today, I have to end. Just like today, there was a wedding. I'm here for the purpose. I came here for that purpose. I mean, the timing with what's a sannyasi doing at a wedding, anyways? But I came, and one of the principal messages when you make vows, marriage vows, or initiation vows, or any vows, you keep your vows. Don't take vows you don't intend to keep. Or don't give your word you're going to do something and then don't do it. That's not good. So I said it at the wedding, and I'll say it again. My father taught me, a man is only as good as his word. You give your word, you keep your word. If you don't intend to keep your word, don't give it. You can say, let me think about it, or I'm not sure, ask me again tomorrow, or, something. But you give your word and you keep your word. And those who keep their word, that's integrity. So there's vows at a time of initiation. We're going to do it shortly. And something that I like, it's not a necessary requirement, but something I like is for each person who's going to receive initiation, someone is going to say something about them. So do you know who the someone is going to say something about them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here, I will do that. You want to speak about it? Okay. I will do it.
You to finish his neck beads. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. So Shrikant Prabhu, I think started his journey around 6 years back when he moved to Houston, if I remember correctly, with KT Bhakti Vriksha, and with his wife Sarika Mataji and kids Adi and Atharva. And since then he has been very committed to serving the lordships here in the temple and as well as in the Bhakti Vriksha, preaching the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And one of his passion is book distribution. So he's our KT group book distribution champion, and very enthusiastic. And in addition to doing the book distribution in different grocery stores, he personally goes door to door as well. So, and has been distributing Bhagavatam sets as well. So
if he shows up your door, you know what to do. Say yes.
Yeah. And Mataji and Prabhu and the whole family has been very nicely engaged in Krishna consciousness, serving all the devotees during Sunday feast and taking part in the cooking and all the services. So I'm so happy that Shrikant Prabhu is taking the next step in this journey. So
We have
thank
to
you.
end. Okay, so now, next. You see that little pathway? That's so you can go before Prabhupada and offer your obeisances. To make things go swiftly, the other two initiates can do the same now. Go offer your obeisances before Srila Prabhupada. Just to save time. Because time is... Chirag is giving me the evil eye. I gotta finish. He's here. He knows what to do. Okay, so obeisances, and you're going to give your take vows and give you your name and all those nice things. Obeisances? Okay. Mataji. Okay, those of you that have not been present, there's 3 vows that are asked of each initiate, at least from me to the initiate. They're vows that are meant to be upheld for the rest of their life. So your vows, you ready?
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay.
So,
No, wait a minute. I'm going to ask and you're going to say. That's how it works. First vow. On your beads here, you'll chant how many rounds of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra every day for the rest of your life, health permitting, of course.
rest of my life, I will chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra at least 16 rounds every day.
Very good.
And on Ekadashi day, I will chant at 25 rounds.
Okay, but 16 minimum, and you can chant as many you want on Ekadashi. That's nice. Make a vow that you can uphold, that's all. Okay. The 4 rules that you'll follow, the prohibitions.
Yeah, I will follow no meat eating, no gambling, no illicit sex, no intoxication.
Very good. And he's got a lot of confidence, this man. And as you've been doing, you continue for the rest of your life, making best effort to follow closely Prabhupada's teachings, yes?
Yes, Maharaj Guru.
Your initiated name is Sakshad Hari Das. So who's going to speak now? No. Susmita. Who?
Krishna.
So,
Sushmita is born from the land of Lord Chaitanya, from Bengal. Bengali is her mother tongue, but unfortunately she has the history of Prahlad Maharaj. She did not have the support of her family and intimate members in her journey, but she has shown herself to be very determined, especially in her study of Shastra and in fulfilling her vows. She has implicit faith in her spiritual master, and she's determined to go in this path. She started off as a software engineer, and then she changed her profession to be a teacher, so she can have more time for her spiritual activities and to also help her family along. So I'm very grateful to you for being so compassionate and giving her your shelter, and also to the management that they have recommended her on this path. And I appeal to all of you. She has had a very difficult journey. As you are appreciating her and supporting her today, please continue to support her as she goes forward in her spiritual life, instead of pushing her down. So appreciate her struggles and get inspiration from her, and please help her and give her your blessings on this journey forward.
very nice, thank you. Come forward and pay obeisances. Go ahead. It's not easy to hear people saying nice things about yourself, isn't it? That's part of the austerity of spiritual life. Okay, the three vows. How many rounds you'll chant on your beads every day? Minimum 60 over the course of your life?
16 rounds.
Okay. And on the four rules that you'll follow?
No meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, no illicit sex.
Very good. And as you've been doing, you'll continue to the best of your ability to carefully follow Srila Prabhupada's teachings. You understand?
Yes.
And the answer is?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
I'm wondering. Okay, initiated name is Samapriya Devi Dasi. Samapriya is, we discussed it, I didn't let the cat out of the bag, but we discussed it in relation to Vrindavan. During this visit, I've been discussing Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. And there's a verse in the 10th canto, chapter 13, that describes the quality of Vrindavan as such a nice place that although there are forms of life that are by nature's arrangement at odds with each other, they quarrel and fight and the cat and dog kind of thing, but Vrindavan is such a place that everyone lives peacefully and in cooperative mood. Very unique. It's not like the material world. And so that's the meaning of your name. Samapriya is a quality of Vrindavan, where everything is peaceful and in harmony. She likes it. Okay, and now, one more initiate. Come forward and pay obeisances. And over here is Vangsidhara. He's going to read something that's written by the temple president of the Singapore temple, because that's where he went to school and grew up and so forth, Singapore. He came all the way here for initiation.
So he says, I have known Rishabh Prabhu for many years now in Singapore. From the very beginning, when he was a student in the National University of Singapore, he demonstrated a deep, inquisitive nature to understand the purpose of life and the nature of our Creator. So he took to Krishna consciousness very naturally and has been a very sincere soul, diligently studying Srila Prabhupada's books and performing a variety of services in Singapore and in Mumbai. He underwent great challenges in his personal life, but Rishabh Prabhu has always strived to see the hand of Krishna in all situations, and it has never deterred him from praying to take shelter of a pure devotee and spiritual master to cement his spiritual journey. I am very happy that he is taking initiation and shelter at the lotus feet of His Holiness Romapad Maharaj, and we all wish him well in his devotional service.
Okay. So, you nervous? That's the 3 vows. How many rounds you'll chant every day without fail on your beads?
I vow to chant 16 rounds daily without fail.
Minimum. More is good, but minimum. Okay. And the 4 rules that you'll follow?
No meat eating, no gambling, no intoxicants, and no illicit sex.
Very good. And as you've been doing, you'll continue to the best of your ability to follow Srila Prabhupada's teachings carefully.
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
Okay. Initiated name is Rasaraj Das. And now we're ready for what's next. We're ready for Chirag. Who's going to do something?
Auctioning.
Okay, auction. Okay. Okay, fantastic.
So this is Auction Das talking. All of you have come to know me as the guy who's always wanting to get money out of you. This is something which have been given to me as a service. It's not something which I spontaneously choose. So can all the kids who painted the parts